Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. We're back again, and now I have the model close to what I want to see it at. I have created all of the various hub configurations and altered all the ends of the struts. There will still be some minor tweaking of the hub, mainly as to how high and how they relate to the tops of the struts, and the bottom, of course, the same as how they relate to the bottom of the struts. But they've all been created. There are 6 variants of hub, and it may well be that at some stage I will decide to have a happy medium of the height of the hub, and we can have components made that are more universal. But at the moment I've coloured them to indicate they've been modified. For example, this hub here may or may not be changed in height, but for the moment it is approximately 102 millimeters. The very topmost is about 102. Have I adjusted that? Well, there's a good question, but I know some of them are around about 83, or we might have extended it, made it 87. So this one here, whoops, let's get in a bit closer. Yes, 88. So there's about a 15 millimeter difference, and it may be that that is too great a discrepancy to be able to just use one common hub. But really, the way I've got it at the moment, there's no reason why I can't reduce the top of the hub and the bottom of the hub so it closer approaches the brackets themselves. And that's exactly what we did with this bluish one up here, and I just gave a 2 millimeter tolerance to each one, and that's why we wound up with 88 millimeters. We could likely do that with these as well and settle upon a common hub, the actual tube itself. With this now achieved, I can quite easily place a measurement. I'm choosing this one just for the sheer heck of it. I can go from, as I was mentioning before, point to point, because we know the one common position is the center line of the pin or bolt. So we could go from there to here, look down on the bottom right hand corner. We know that that strut is 1425 long. It says about, but we're talking about something less than 1 millimeter. This is what I was aiming for when I sidestepped my problem of trying to be overly clever and use the dimensions and angles, etc., for these hubs. But in the end, I found that that was just not, for me, viable. It was creating too many dead ends. So I thought, right, let's sidestep it altogether. As I said, had a wee bit of therapy with my friend. He was ex-avionics engineer, and as he was saying, there's no such thing as we'll build in the tolerance as we're going. It's the dead opposite. You have to build out tolerances so that in theory you're always working to the level of perfection that's required. Avionics engine, you can't get too much wrong in that industry. I'm a builder, and we quite often have jokes about the tolerances that you can and can't have. You know, it's you have 2-inch top coat. You know, if you've made a real muck up, you can put more paint on it and just keep on hiding things. Well, that's not a good idea, is it? So even though this is a bit of outdoor landscaping furniture or structure, having a known dimension right from the get-go from your models means that you can go ahead in confidence and create, I think, a very good and successful and strong dome. I'm hesitating because I can imagine that when we make these, they may not be exactly to the size we may wish them to be. And it is that stage you get these made, the hubs, because you may not be able to get the 114.3 millimeter diameter tube. You may not be able to get these fabricated so that the pivot points are exactly right. So what do? Well, I'm going to say, don't make your struts before you have the physical hub made. And if you find it is out by 2, 3, 10, 20 millimeters, depending on your situation, then of course that measurement we had before just gets amended appropriately. So you don't have to go through the drama of redrawing everything, and trust me, it is a drama. So the physical reality now, or the if I wanted to build this, I would have to go down to my local company, or one of the local companies, one I was mentioning the other day, Steel and Tube. It's many companies because we've got quite a large city and we've got many steel suppliers, but I could go down there, get some tube, have them, or get it cut myself. I could get it lathe cut, laser cut, plasma cut. I wouldn't suggest you try and cut it yourself. And when I'm talking about chop saws, I'm talking about steel chop saws, not your, as I hear on some videos, they're talking about a chop saw as a, well, just a wood for wood. And it's definitely not what I'm talking about. But you can get specific blades for cutting steel, and especially steel tube. So at this stage I will finesse the joints a little bit. I still have to fabricate a bracket to take the very bottom of the hub, the tube here. I've decided to stay with the inclined version. There is an option for making these horizontal, but I think if we've gone to this stage, we might as well stay with this particular version. This is the only hub really that would alter. If you wanted to make a fuller dome, the rest of the hubs should stay pretty close to what they are. Remembering though that this is a truncated version, so of course the geometry may well change if you wanted to make a truly dome rather than a fuller sided dome. What I'm talking about here is if you wanted to bring the sides down, you may be able to use exactly the same orientation here and add the necessary brackets. It's not something I'm looking at doing. Am I? No, not at this stage. And were I to drop a vertical strut or leg down here, that would be a very, very different issue for the bracket. You wouldn't simply be able to rotate this round because it would still be wanting to kick it outwards in the dome-ish type angle rather than the vertical direction that we would probably desire if we wanted to do that. That's not what we're needing to worry about at the moment. Okay, so that's where we're at. Now, I am contemplating how to make this easily available to you. If you followed it all along as we've been going and drawing the items yourself, that's all well and fine, or for your own use. Or do I make these available so that you can make direct or have direct benefit of it rather than going through the nightmare that I went to draw it? We'll mull that one over. We'll put it on the back burner for some consideration. Righty ho, that's it. I'm off, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.